Sunday night, Monday night, week 7 recap, Thursday night preview. Let's get it.
Welcome to FaZe Fantasy Live with your host, Lonnie Z.
What's going on, everybody? It's Lonnie Z, and this is FaZe Fantasy Live. Along with me, as usual, is my partner in crime, Jake Hansen. What's going on, Jake? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. What's up, Lonnie?
Nothing much, man. Just out here. We took a week off last week. We both had a lot on the schedule, and we weren't able to get to the podcast last week. So we apologize, but we will stay faithful throughout the rest of the season. And we're back in the saddle again. So we're going to do an abbreviated show tonight, and we're just going to recap the Sunday night game. We're going to recap the Monday night game, and then we're going to talk about the up-and-coming game, Tampa Bay and Buffalo, tomorrow night on Thursday night. So first of all, the first game that we're going to talk about is the Philadelphia Eagles Miami Dolphins. I was really kind of excited about this game. I thought it'd be a little more fireworks, but it turned out that Philadelphia just looked like the better team. They both came in at 5-1, but Philadelphia looked like the better team on that Sunday night game. What was your take on that game, bro?
I think this was probably the best game the Eagles played all year. Like we said, they haven't looked like the team they were last year, but this game, they looked really good. They looked really good. And when Miami, they play a little tougher team. They play a team that's equal to them, like they did to the Bills. The Bills beat them handily, and then now Philly pretty much beat them handily. It wasn't really a close game at all.
Mm-hmm.
I just see that Philly right now. They're the team in the NFC to beat. They look the best they have all year to me. Hurts still. There's something that hurts. He still doesn't look all the way what he did last year. But like Tua did not do well at all. 11 fantasy points. Mostert 6 points. But Tyreek Hill, he had 25 fantasy points. He had 15 targets. That's crazy, man. Waddle still hasn't broke off yet. He had 12, and their tight ends nothing. Their defense had 12 fantasy points. Hurts had 25. DeAndre Swift, slow game, 10 points, and A.J. Brown, another busy week for A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
He had 32 fantasy points, and Devontae Smith, 8, just not getting it like we talked about, and Goddard, 18.
Yeah. I was looking for the wide receiver 2s to finally have a little breakout game. I've been waiting all year for them, for both of them, for Waddle and Smith. And it looks like I might have to just stop banking on these guys, man, because the alphas in those lineups are really alphas. Tyreek Hill, obviously, his game wasn't so great. 15 targets, 11 receptions, which sounds like, yes, that's going to be a big fantasy day. He did have the touchdown, but he only had 88 yards. So they're really they didn't let him get over the top. They didn't really let him get loose. That's only 8.8 yards per catch for Tyreek, which is low for his average. 11 receptions, 88 yards. That's not, a normal Tyreek game. But A.J. Brown, man, he's been going crazy. 10 receptions, 137 yards, a touchdown. So he's looked really good. And I agree with you. Jalen Hurts hasn't. I still don't think we've seen the best game from Hurts yet. And once that happens, boy, we just saw a real good Eagles team. They put on a show. They shut down that high-powered offense. Mostert only had 9 carries for 45 yards, his lowest game all year. And like you said, Tua, I get it. To me, it just seems almost like a normal Tua game, but I'm probably underestimating Tua. 23 of 32 for 216 yards, a touchdown and interception. But I think what we're both expecting is more like them to just be running side by side with Philly and putting up a little show, like scoring. Philly scores, they'll score. That wasn't the case at all. Like you said, Philly kind of dominated that game, man. And they did assert themselves at the top of the NFC again. But I don't think there's much separation between them and the Niners still, even though what happened on Monday night happened on Monday night. I still think everyone's entitled to a bad game here or there. And we haven't seen a horrible game out of the Phillies yet. We saw them blow a game and not have a good game against the Jets. That's their only loss. But yeah, um, as far as moving forward with these two teams, I don't think anything really changes. If you have any of these players, you're going to play them each week. You're going to play Mozart. You're going to play Swift. You're going to play AJ, Tyreek, Waddle, Tua, Hertz. All these guys are getting played. But man, I might start looking to trade Devonta Smith or Waddle. It's because the trade deadline usually for fantasy is like mid-November, I think, something like that, or towards the end of
Mhm.
November. But I would really start considering some trade options for those guys because they just have not been performing.
Yeah, I have them both. One in one league, one in another league. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is. So on to the next game, and it was a game that when it's funny we weren't able to do the cast last week, and this is the week where our two teams play each other. Vikings and Niners, and we've been very vocal about we're fans. We're not homers. We try not to be homers, right? But we're fans. I
Right.
bleed purple, you bleed red and gold, baby.
Mhm.
And we're both from the Bay, so I know Niner fans. All my friends are Niner fans, so I understand that whole culture, that whole Niners nation. Um, I didn't. I'll be honest though, I didn't expect what happened to happen. I did expect a good game. I expected the Vikings defense to be better than it had been advertised, but I really didn't expect the Vikings to go in there and play as well as they did, and for the Niners to have so many shortcomings. If you look at the stat line, man, Kirk Cousins, you couldn't tell he was playing against a number one rated or top five, top three, top two rated defense in the league. 35 of 45, 378 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. And that interception really wasn't his fault. It goes through Addison's hand. They wrestle for the ball and it gets picked off. So that wasn't, you can't really put that on Kurt. It was just a good defensive play. Madison started off, bro, looking like he was going to do something. He started off on,
Mhm.
and he ends up with 39 yards.
I know. I
you
thought,
know,
yeah.
but the story was Addison. He's coming out, and who would have thought? Now you've told me all year the Niners can give up some big plays against receivers. They can give up some big plays here or there, but no one expected what Addison did for him to do that. I didn't, and I was rooting for the Vikings, obviously,
Mhm.
but 7 receptions, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That 60-yarder was the one that really, catapulted it all. And on the Niner side, I was kind of concerned about McCaffrey because he went in with his oblique, and he looked good at first, but then he kind of slowed down. 15 carries, 45 yards. He did get a touchdown though, which extended his streak. Man, he's a beast, bro. He gets in the end zone. He gets in the end
Mhm.
zone. And Purdy, he looked good until the last few drives. Those 2 interceptions were horrible passes
Mhm.
on both, and those are just on him. But which I hadn't seen that yet. But he's young, and those are things that are going to happen. We can't expect him to be perfect. He looked good up until those points. He kept his team right there in it. At any given moment, I thought the Niners were going to come back and win. Obviously, I was happy that they didn't, but and then you have Kittle. I
Mhm.
thought Kittle was going to have a big game, and he had a good game. 5 receptions, 78 yards. TJ Hawkinson, he got in the mix. He had a lot of receptions. He had 11 receptions on 12 targets, which is really good. He only had 86 yards. I thought he'd have a bigger game than that, even though it sounds really big. 11 receptions, 86 yards. I thought that he'd have over 100 yards, but he did well, and I expected more out of KJ Osborne too. KJ 5 for 47 on 6 targets. But Cam Akers, he looked good, man. He had 2 receptions for 30 yards, and then he rushed the ball 10 times for 31 yards, which doesn't sound like much, but they were timely rushes, and he got some big yardage when the Vikings needed it. So I just thought that all around, it was a good game, hard fought battle. It kind of reminded me of the old battles of the Vikings and Niners. they used to really, really be had like a rivalry going back in the day, and so it kind of reminded me a little bit of that. It was good actually to see those two teams both be competitive against
Good
each other
football.
again.
Yep, good
Yeah,
football. Yep.
yeah. What was your take, bro?
Uh, you know what? I was a little disappointed. Hey, I'm not taking nothing away from the Vikings. I mean, I told you that during the game. There's nothing. This is just me. This is just being a fan. I mean, not me being a fan. Like watching a team that was dominant against Dallas, and then just dominant against Pittsburgh, and just I mean, pretty much throughout the season. Cleveland, they had a tough game. It was bad weather, great defense. Cleveland had. We lost two of our starters in the first half. And that was a tough game. Purdy brought them down to win the game, missed field goal, right? And then with the Vikings, just so many missed plays to me. I mean, the Vikings are good. Kirk Cousins is good. They didn't sack him one time. That's on the D line. There's some missed plays. I just think we have too many Chiefs, not enough Indians, man. We got too many guys that think they have to just be that raw guy. Oh, I'm the man. I'm this. I'm that. It's not like that, man. And they had a meeting afterwards. I guess Purdy and Warner was on the side of the locker room talking, just them two, and they talked for a while. They said so. Purdy didn't look too great at the end, like Lonnie said, and Purdy just made some throws in traffic that he shouldn't have. I mean, that safety dropped back. I mean, he made two great catches, and it was just like he was like just pressing. We didn't have Debo, and I don't think that was that bad. But McCaffrey, he still looks hurt. Bad fumble at the goal line. I just think we came in. I don't think we came in cocky, but we missed a lot of plays, a lot of tackles. The Vikings beat us. They beat us, and we beat ourselves also too. I think in a way, but the Vikings beat us,
Yeah.
and hopefully forward. Hopefully the Vikings keep playing that way. To be honest with you.
Well, you've been saying all year, man, that the Vikings have the ball just has not been bouncing their way.
No.
All year. I've been like, dang it, they look like crap, this and that. And you're like, nah, bro, they don't look like crap.
Well, the Chicago game, they looked like crap. The Chicago game, they looked like crap. You said they looked like crap. The
Yeah,
Chicago game, and I agree with you on
and they
that game.
still won the game.
And they still won the
Yeah,
game.
that's true.
But all the other games,
Yeah.
no, they look good. And I got some scores, some fantasy scores here. So
Mhm.
so on the Niners side, Brock Purdy, 14 fantasy points. Yee. Yee. 14 fantasy points. McCaffrey had 20. George Kittle had 12. And Ayuk was going good. See, that's what's crazy to me, man. Ayuk was going, man. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden that went
Yeah.
crazy, I'm not even going to talk about the Niners no more. Jordan Addison had 34 fantasy points.
Yeah, that's crazy.
34 fantasy points. That is crazy to me, man.
He literally won me my game in one of my leagues.
That's crazy. Kirk Cousins had 25 fantasy points. Alexander Madison, he had a slow game, like you said. He was starting off. Yeah, I was like, man, the boy running on us. He had 40 yards, 30 something yards in the before the first half was over. And I was like, oh shoot, he's gonna go off, and he
Exactly.
didn't really do too well at the end. But they had Cam Akers running a lot though. They had him running pretty well
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. 10
He had
carries.
8 points. Cam Akers had
Mhm.
8 points. And Madison had 6.
Yeah.
So Akers was breaking, man. Akers was breaking.
Yeah. Akers looked he looked pretty good. He broke off one for 13, but it was
And
just
TJ had 19 points.
for, yeah, yeah. Hawkinson, man, he 11 for 86,
Yeah, they look good. I mean, that was a big game for them, be honest. I mean, that was a bigger game for them than it was for the Niners. That's what the freaking Niners showed.
It was. And that's going to build, I think for the Niners, it's going to build a little character. They went on the road, lost 2 tough road games, and like you said, if you have Purdy and Warner meeting, talking about, what they're talking about. Like, look, we're going to be better. I'm going to be
Mhm.
better on my side. I'm going to be better on my side. It's probably something like that.
Yeah, Warner had a bad game too, man. Warner is the one that covers Hawkinson, and he couldn't cover Hawkinson at all. He could cover Brandon Cooks, one of the fastest men in the NFL, but he can't cover Hawkinson. So he had a bad game. He missed like 4 tackles too, I watched.
And he
So
did
that's what
get
I'm
a
saying.
little he
It was a
did get a
bad
little
game.
banged up too
Yeah,
in
it
the
was a bad
game.
game. It was a bad game
Yeah.
for him too.
Yeah, all in all, the Vikings came away with the win 22-17, and it did really mean more to the Vikings than or the Vikings needed it more than Niners. Niners are in a position they could drop a game like that and still, be at the top of the NFC. They have
Yeah.
they have a defense that travels. For some reason it didn't, and like I had mentioned to you off air, is that I had forgot all about the O'Connell connection here. He's just used to the Niners, man. He schemed for them for years when he was with the Rams. So, it didn't surprise me that he had a good game plan coming into this. But the Niners left some stuff out there. This game could have easily went either way. And in this particular case, I still think the 49ers are the better team. If you're looking at on paper and you're looking at the team, I think they're the better team. In this case, the better team didn't win, but I ain't mad at it.
No, I give it to you. I mean, you have all your yeah, you could rub it in.
And I was kind of humble. I didn't rub it in, brother. I ain't rubbing it in. We got one,
See, I just have a hard time. See, I don't, man. I just have a yeah, because that's karma to me. If I start talking like that, and then it's gonna
right?
bite me. So that's why I don't. But it's all good. You can. It don't hurt me. It's all good.
No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to. Let's get out of
I know
the
you want to.
no, no, bro.
Not to me, maybe.
Look,
Not to me, but just the Niner fans, and I get it. I understand it.
there are certain Niner fans that I would rub it in, like my boy Barney.
Yeah,
Barney, I would
yeah.
shove it in, and I didn't even text Barney or Salvi. I didn't even text neither one of them fools, but I should have. you
Shove it
know.
down the throat.
And then there's other guys. I just because we keep it respectful, and
Yeah,
so
that's all good.
you're and I have to do this with you every week, so I don't want us to be pissed off at each other over the Niners and Vikings.
It's all good. Football.
I know, bro. Hey, so this Thursday night's game is Tampa Bay and Buffalo, bro. This is kind of weird. Buffalo, they haven't looked like Buffalo. They're predicted to win this. The matchup predictor is 82%. They think that 82% says Buffalo's going to win. I would have to say I think Buffalo's going to win this game too. But they haven't looked good.
No, no, they're banged up bad on defense, and I'm surprised. Sorry for cutting you off, but I'm surprised that they didn't make that trade for what's that? What was the safety's name that Philly just got? Beard, or Byard or whatever from Tennessee. That guy's all pro. That's who Buffalo needs. The Buffalo. Did you see that Buffalo called the Niners last week and asked for Dre Greenlaw?
Oh, did they? No, I did not see that. Now the Niners would be crazy to get rid of Greenlaw, man. He's a beast.
Yeah, John Lynch said no, but I mean, Stephon Diggs for Dre Greenlaw. I mean, you want to do that? I'm just saying, you want to make a stupid trade. I mean, you're asking for a stupid trade, then we'll do a stupid trade. You know what I mean? Okay,
Right?
give me Diggs, but no, yeah, they're banged up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, and they didn't look good at all against New England, and we kind of thought that New England was going to have a good game. We kind of said it when we were picking our team for Sunday's FanDuel. We actually took New England's defense because we thought it could be a competitive game. I don't think we thought that the Bills were going to lose, but I don't know. I think we kind of did mention, hey, this could be one of those games where the Bills lose. Belichick has to win. He's not on the hot seat because he just signed an extension, but the Bills just haven't looked good, man. And I think that Josh Allen, so far this season, he's thrown 15 touchdown passes and 7 interceptions. That's not good. That's way too many interceptions already. That's one per game. We're going into week 8 and he has 7 interceptions. So he's throwing a pick a game, and that's not elite status. He really needs to taper back on his turnovers in order for them to get this win this week, because now I don't feel confident in going in saying Buffalo's going to win anything. I don't know if they're going to play up or down to their competition. They're 4-3. I expect Buffalo right now to be one of the top teams in the AFC, at least minimum 5-2, and the two should have been like something crazy, but they're 4-3. Diggs has looked good still this year. He's looked consistent and he's looked very good. They're trying to get James Cook going. He hasn't been bad either. 88 carries for 419 yards and a touchdown. He hasn't been bad. And then on the flip side, Baker Mayfield is probably playing above his pay grade. He's been playing really good. Even though they lost last week, he still didn't look horrible. They only scored 13 points though, and that was probably his worst game of the year, I think, was last week. And like we said, that Atlanta defense, man, is better than people are saying, better than people know. But he's done really good this year. He's got over 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. For him, that's not bad. But Rashard White, man, if you have Rashard White on your team, either he needs to be on the bench or he needs to be on the waiver wire because he's, I don't know. Try to trade him, do whatever you can if anyone will fall for it. But he's not produced this year. Mike Evans has looked great. 4 touchdowns. He started off really hot, but he's kind of tapered back the last few weeks. If I'm playing fantasy, I'll go with Josh Allen. If I have Josh, you got to go with Josh. Even on the single game FanDuel, you could still go with Josh Allen. You got to expect he's going to have a good night. You can go with Diggs, Mike Evans. Godwin has been kind of a disappointment so far this year. He hasn't really taken off. I think him and Baker aren't really connecting. But I think the Bills get things right and they take care of business at home tomorrow night. What's your take?
Yeah, we're waiting for the Bills. I mean, it's hard to pick this game. Like when they played the Giants. Oh yeah, Bills were going to win, and then they squeezed that one out. And then last week they didn't. They started off slow, and then all of a sudden I seen they were winning, and then they ended up losing. I didn't even know they lost. To be honest with you, I didn't even know they lost. I watched some of the game, and then I didn't watch the end of it, and then I thought they won, and then all of a sudden it said, "Oh, Mac Jones and Stevenson ran in to win the game." I'm like, "What? What happened?" The Bills are not the Bills. I think I said this a couple weeks ago. Like, this is just something's wrong inside the locker room. I don't know what it is. I mean, their offense could be really powerful. I mean you think they should be they have Gabe Davis, but I think they need one more receiver, man. I think they need another receiver. I
Yeah.
think they need a big name number 2. Because Gabe Davis is here and there, and Knox hasn't been too much, and Kincaid, like I thought Kincaid was going to be their other receiver pretty much. That's why they drafted him, and he hasn't looked good at all.
Yep.
Kincaid has not looked good at all. I don't know if it's just because they're not using him, but he hasn't looked good. And yeah, the Buccaneers on a 2-game skid. Baker's still, he's still slinging it, but yeah, the Bills should win this game at home. They should win this game. I think they're going to win this game pretty well. I think so. I would still play Mike Evans, and I would, but that's pretty much. A Godwin, he's getting targets, but not big stats.
Yeah.
And I play Diggs and I play Allen. That's pretty much. A Cook's been up and down lately. Like to
Yeah.
me,
Yes.
Cook's been really up and down to me. And this could be a Gabe Davis game also.
It could be. You're right.
But it's so hard with that though.
It is. With Davis, he's boom or bust, man. He's big play or no play, right? I mean, he drives you crazy, and I have him on one of my teams. I traded him in one league, which is got rid of him. But
I just see Buffalo. I see Buffalo making a trade here. It's like they have to get a defensive player.
yeah,
They have to. Like, don't be surprised if they go after your boy, Hunter. I mean, his name is rumored big time right now, and they need more of a cornerback safety, and that's why I'm surprised they didn't get the guy from Tennessee. That's crazy to me.
yeah,
Like Philly gets him. Like, what is going on here?
yeah. Philly needed that position too.
Safety. Yeah, they do.
They
But
did.
Buffalo. Don't be surprised if Buffalo goes after Surtain. I can't believe Denver would ever trade Surtain. That'd be crazy to me. That'd be why? Why would you trade that kid?
Yeah,
But yeah, they called for Greenlaw, and they're going after they're going to get somebody. I mean, I'll be really surprised if they don't trade for a defensive player.
Yeah. On the injury front, Dawson Knox has been ruled out for tomorrow's game. So maybe we see more of Kincaid. But historically, man, if we're just being real about the Bills' offense, they don't go through the tight end much. Knox has never had big seasons. He's had big games from time to time. But like you said, they drafted Dalton Kincaid to open up that tight end position and stretch the field and to make him like the third receiver. They haven't even used him like that. Even though he had a better game last week, or the week before, he hasn't really done much. He really hasn't. So it's hard to put him out there.
I don't get some of these coaches this year, man, with some of their draft picks. It's like the Lions drafting, Gibbs, and the only reason he plays is because Montgomery's hurt. It's like, dude, you used a first round pick on Gibbs. I think it was 12th or 13th or something like that.
Yep.
Like
12th, I think is the 12th pick.
And the Gauss and then Kincaid, you picked him. And
Yep.
you're not in the way that everybody thought you were going to use him. I mean, yeah, you're the coach and you know more than us, but I mean, man, why isn't he getting the ball, man? I mean, it's weird to me, especially when your offense is struggling. Like the
Exactly.
Bills, your offense is struggling, man.
It is. And by all accounts, Dalton Kincaid, his route tree is great. He knows how to run his routes. He's good blocking. So it doesn't seem like he's still learning the system type thing. I don't get it either, man. Some of these coaches I think are too smart for their own good. We've talked about a lot of coaches this year that have made us scratch our head, and just to touch base on a couple things, the whole Arthur Smith, and I can't wait to bitch about Arthur Smith, but the whole Arthur Smith and Bijan Robinson thing, bro, you don't put him on the injury report. You make everyone believe he's starting and playing, and then game time comes and you don't tell anyone, and it's an illness. They had to have known he was sick before that game, bro.
Oh, they said they did. Yeah, they knew.
And they just didn't announce it because they didn't want the other team to scheme up and plan for that.
The thing is, I know that the NFL, they don't have to do anything for FanDuel or DraftKings. They don't care about us, and it's true. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but there is people that are putting in thousands of dollars a week. Like there's thousands of dollars lineups that guys are putting in a $1,000 lineup, and then they put Bijan Robinson, and then 5 minutes into the game, oh, he has a headache. Are you serious, man? He was throwing up in the morning. Like they knew about it. He one time. It's like they did it on purpose. They put him in there for one play and they took him out and didn't play again.
Yep.
Are you serious?
Yeah. That's the
NFL's looking at it because they said they knew about it because they said he was sick all night and shit. I guess he's been having headaches.
Yeah, because the NFL does require them to make that announcement at least an hour and a half before start time. And so if you're saying this guy's healthy to start, he's supposed to be healthy to start. And that's just so they can't be, messing around. You know what I'm saying? Like the other team, it's fair game. It's fair game. The other team needs they need to know who's playing, who's not,
Well, it's like hockey. I guess hockey, you don't have to say nothing, right? Hockey, you don't say nothing.
Hockey's crazy, bro. You don't have to tell what the injury is. You don't have to say shit in hockey.
You don't say shit. Hockey's crazy, bro.
Yeah, but we know.
No, but it's true. I know they don't care about us. It's because it's a gambling. But you know what, though? I mean, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like that dude, if I put a $500 lineup in or a $1,000 lineup in and I had him, oh man.
Yeah.
That's why I think DraftKings needs to do a thing. DraftKings and FanDuel. I'm talking about fantasy because this is what we do this podcast for. I think that they need to do a thing like
Price Picks.
Price Picks does. If somebody's hurt by the first half, then they need to let you put in somebody or that you just get 5 points or something or like 10 points because if that whatever the projection was in for that running back, they should just give you the projection and that's it. Don't give us more than that or don't give us no less. Just give us the projection because that's bullshit.
Yeah, they do need to make a provision for that. But I don't think DraftKings or FanDuel gives a shit because they're making money.
No, I know.
But you're absolutely right because Price Picks does do that. If a player gets hurt,
Mhm.
They just refund the whole, you don't lose your money on the bet. You get your whole bet refunded. And when you're putting in, some people like we'll put in $333, in that tournament that we play.
Mhm.
And if you have an injured player, I'd rather get that money back, you know. But if you win,
Or
you get to keep it. But if you don't, or if it affects it, like within his percentage, like say within his
Mhm.
projection, if you lose by less than his projection, then you get your money refunded. Or if you win
Mhm.
by, or if you win, you just win. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
they need to do something. You're absolutely right, because this year, man, you should see my teams. I don't. There's not enough IR slots, on my
I know.
teams. And last week, I had to resort to freaking picking up Zach
Evans.
Evans, and that was another thing that pissed me off. Everyone's saying Zach Evans is going to be the starter. It's all star. He's starting. He's going to be the one. McVay, right
Right.
before the game or the night before the McVay says, "Well, I wouldn't say that." And then he doesn't even play. Basically, he doesn't play, or he barely played. He didn't get any kind of nothing. He got 0 points. And you go draft him, get him up, not draft him, but you pick him up off the waiver wire thinking that he's the next man up. And they go get the dude who was on the couch, Daryl Henderson, and he comes and has a pretty decent game. So I don't know. Um, there's a lot of injuries this year that seem to be crazy injuries. And I don't know why, but it seems like this year there's more injuries than before.
Well, it's like the Cardinals. The Cardinals said DeMarcado was going to be the starter. Keontae Ingram all of a sudden is a starter. Keontae Ingram plays. This coming up week, Keontae Ingram's going to play. Keontae Ingram barely even played, and DeMarcado played the whole game.
Right.
Like, why are you putting on there that they're going to start? Like, I don't care. I mean, like
Yeah.
what? I mean, you can't even bet nowadays. You can't even do anything. It's like they're doing it on purpose. It's like the NFL is doing it on purpose. But the NFL and NBA and the MLB and hockey, they are opening arms for them to be in their stadium and in their
Yep.
arena, but you're
Yep.
not going to put out the right stuff. Like, come on, man.
Hey, well, maybe they're getting a cut, bro. Maybe they have deals with FanDuel
It's
and
just it's
DraftKings
crazy.
and
It's crazy, but it's crazy to me though that you say, that this guy's playing. Like Keontae Ingram didn't have a bad game at all, and all of a sudden he doesn't play.
yeah, bro. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And the season is crazy. Last week was a weird week again, and wasn't much to choose from. As these buys keep continue, it's going to be a little harder and harder. I keep expecting the season to even out and us to kind of really be able to gauge what's going to happen, but that hasn't happened yet. We've already been through 7 games of the season, so hopefully it gets better. But you got anything else, brother?
No, I'm good, man. We are going to do a preview this week for Week 8. We will do
We
it.
are. Yeah, Friday night we will do that, and we'll have it up for Saturday morning or late Friday night. It will be up, and we're not going to miss again. We're excited about everything going on, but this football season has been a rough one. Hopefully, you out there are having better luck with your fantasy season and your teams, and you're not decimated by injury. And hopefully, you're getting some good intel out of this show, because we're trying to keep you up to date. But man, they're throwing us curveballs left and right. Uh, Thank you so much for listening. I'm Lonnie. He is Jake, and we'll catch you on the next one.